These carpets are inspired from my water photographs. In the 60s, I started photographing water. I felt there was a spiritual connection there between water and the human form. And I started photographing water, and I found that there were a lot of things in water that were related not only to nature, but also to our rhythm as human beings, being 75% water. Some years later, I had an exhibition of these photographs, and a guy came up to me and he said, I like your pictures. He said, they're really great. And I said, yeah, I would really like to make them into something else. He said, what? I said, I'd like carpets would be really great. And he said, do you know what I do? And I said, no. He said, I own a carpet company in Kashmir, India. So I said, whoa. And he said, great. He said, we'll do it. So after about 3 months, I made some drawings and I made some copies and some details of certain photographs and sent them in to him. And 3 months later, I had 6 different carpets. These are wool, and they are moth-proof. That's it.
Any questions from anyone?
I never heard of how to make it moth-proof. They put a finish on it, in other words.
No, the actual wool there's something in the wool that makes it moth-proof.
Mm-hmm. The finish is in the wool, but,
Yes.
but I don't know if that's permanent.
Yeah. I wouldn't spend that kind of money in it. It wasn't permanent.
What did you do to your photographic images
Well,
to the extent of what you sent?
Well, what I did with some of them, I moved in and created smaller details rather than the actual full photograph, because the full photograph was a little too much to take. So I concentrated more on the patterns and the rhythms in detail.
Is this reflections of water? After?
Yes, they're reflections of water in color. I started in black and white, but these are in color. And these are shot actually in the wintertime. There's a different color in water. Summer, winter, spring, and fall, the colors are different. So these colors relate more to the fall and the winter. Frosty morning is what this one is called.
And in your photography, do you focus on a lot of with reflections? Do you do a lot with water and reflections?
Yes, I do a lot with reflections, but I'm more interested in not so much the actual reflection as the spirit that I feel within the water. You know, there are lots of patterns that you can reflect on, so that's beautiful, but I'm more after the spiritual feeling in the actual image.
The communion you have with the element.
We all have it.
Did you choose these colors, or is this?
No, these colors actually existed.
That was a good segue into my question, because you talk a lot about the spiritual portion of what you do. I've heard you speak before, and you speak a lot on the spiritual practice of artists. Have you always felt that spiritual connection, or is that did something happen that made you, led you to that spiritual connection of water and other bodies of nature?
When I was a little boy, my teacher told my mother, Adger's a good student, but he's always daydreaming. And I've been a daydreamer. And I found, as I got older, that daydreams were actually my connection to my own internal spirit. And I found that was something that was very strong within me, and I developed it more and more, and I began to understand more and more about that relationship. And it separated in the sense that I began to realize it wasn't me. I wasn't, I'm an artist and I'm creating. I'm a conduit to the spiritual that exists already. And my job is to keep my mind and spirit open and clear so that those images and spirit can speak to me and I can feel it.
Adger, could you talk about the spiritual element of your work and this theme of pattern?
Well, I think in pattern, we all have pattern within our bodies. We are all patterns, electronical patterns, and these patterns are directly related to nature. Whatever exists in the known universe is in all of us. It's a matter of understanding it and connecting to it. It's there every day. If you go to the ocean or you go into nature, you always feel better when you leave. Nature doesn't say that I'm going to make you feel better. I'm going to help you feel better. it's just there, and it's natural. It's a natural thing. You put yourself in the position to the feeling that's already there. And I think that's very spiritual.
It's almost like a reset.
Yes. You reset every time you go into nature.
Because that's with the tidal patterns, that you always have every 6 hours or every 12 hours, you have the tide cycle.
The tides, the moon affects everybody because we're water. And if you think about it, when the moon is full, you always feel different. You don't think about it necessarily, but people say, oh, I feel different. Well, it's a full moon. Because the water in your body changes at full moon time, at the time. This last thing that happened with the eclipse, a lot of stuff went on that people were not aware of that happened within their bodies. And they felt it, but they didn't know how to deal with it. They talked about it, but it's definitely one of the elements that exists within all. We're all of everything that exists in nature. If we kill nature, we die because we're all connected. Everybody all over the world. A breath that I take now, 1,000 years from now, will still be circulating within the universe.
I have another question. Andrew, you are a renowned photographer. Photography is, when we think of you, we think of your photography. Can you talk about the relationship between that sort of core relationship with photography and your interest in painting, in wall fibers, in abstraction?
It's all spirit. The spirit, I try to stay open to what's coming through me. If I'm out photographing, I try to feel what is going on with the people that I'm photographing or the situation that exists. If I'm painting, I try and listen to what's going on inside of me. The color, what I'm going to do, the shape, the form. And it just kind of some way happens. You do work sometimes, and when it's over, you look at it and you say, I did that? Because it's something that's almost like automatic writing. Once you're connected and you know what that connection is and you hook into it, you let go. You don't try and hold and say, well, now I'm going to do this and now I'm going to do that. I hear artists saying, well, first I thought, no. The Creator made you feel this because you're human. And you responded with your heart. Everything is the heart. The eyes only see, it's the heart that feels.
So now this started off as a naturalistic photograph and then you turned into an abstraction. So as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking about a photographer now, and it was a lot of darkroom photography and all of that. It wasn't as much like working on the computer like it is today. You must have looked at your images, representational images a lot. Were you at that point becoming very aware of the abstraction that was in that work?
Well, I think abstract exists in everything. Everything is abstract to me. There's no such thing as reality. Reality, we all, whether we paint a picture of a human being or we do something abstract, it's not that human being. It's an abstraction from that human element. So everything is abstract. All art is abstract to me.
Now you also do acrylic work, right? Where now is that pieces of acrylic that you kind of peel off? And I've seen some of those. They remind me of these, but they're different. Like I've seen that too.
Yes, I have a technique where I spray acrylic paint on plastic and let it dry, and then I peel these little images off and put them together and make little forms and then put them down.
Yeah.
You look like little people.
Yeah.
Or dancers, or I heard all kind of things, circus people, musicians, whatever. But it's something that we as human beings connect to. We always connect to the human part of whatever it is. Even in abstract work, we'll look and say, oh, that looks like, or that feels like, because we're human.
That's great, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.